Hey there, welcome to another episode of the More Than Social podcast. Today we have a special guest, Adale, who is a master coach with CCF. I actually work relatively closely with Adale, so I'm super excited to hear from you because she honestly is a wealth of knowledge. So if you are looking for some mindset tips, if you are struggling with how do you actually move forward, how do you get out of your mind and actually push yourself to hit those big goals that you have for your business, whether you are a coach, if you are just an entrepreneur, if you have a service-based business, all of these tips and personal stories that Adale has been sharing with us, I know is going to inspire you to really crush it this year. So I am super excited for you to dive in. I'm not going to spoil everything, so let's get right into bringing Adale on. Hey Adale, welcome to the More Than Social podcast.
Thanks, Lisa.
I'm so excited to have you here, and I know we have so much content to dive into. Before we dive into the content and talk all things entrepreneurship, why don't you tell our listeners who you are and what you do?
Well, my name is Adale Boudreau, and I fell into being an entrepreneur back in the early 2000s, I guess 2002, where I actually lost my job after 15 years. I kind of worked my way up the corporate ladder. And then one day I got called into my boss's office, and it was like a shocker. It was a shocker. And, I have learned from that moment on that everything happens for a reason. And, when we can embrace the challenges that come to us, so much amazing things can come from it. When I look back on that time, I was unhealthy. I had been engaged twice, but never married. I was 36 at the time. I was overweight. I didn't really even have a great circle of friends. All I had done is work my behind off. And it really allowed me an opportunity to take a step back. I mean, of course, I got a great package. I took a step back and I thought, what do I want to do with my life? And the first thing I recognized is I wanted to get healthy. So I started to lose weight. I got healthy. I did this amazing weight loss program. And then it was like when I was loving who I was. And of course, I dove in a lot to personal growth and development, because how did I get to be 36 and get into this place that truly I wasn't happy? And, losing weight was the beginning of really my growth and my story. And I decided I loved what I learned so much in my weight loss journey that I decided to buy not one, but two of those weight loss franchises. And that was the beginning of becoming an entrepreneur. And, I took that second location from, sales of 180 grand to over $1 million in only 2 years. And what it taught me is that when we believe in ourselves and when we believe in what we offer the world, the universe answers that calling. And, that second location happened to actually be in my hometown that I hadn't lived in for 20 years. So that location just took off. So I moved home to a small Northern Ontario town, and I met the man of my dreams. At the age of 40, when I was living my true calling, my husband walked into my life and I married him within the year. And, so many things have happened to me since that time. And I've realized that it is through the challenges and the obstacles in life that really we learn so much about ourselves and we learn what we're capable of. And when we're just open to recognizing, like, okay, I'm here for a reason. This is happening to me for a reason. And we can't really control that that's happening, but we can control what we do with it. We can control our attitude. We can control our mindset. And, that's kind of given me the tools and the skill set to really consider myself to be a mindset coach, an accountability coach, because it has been through my mindset and my accountability that I've been able to create the life that, like, I'm simply loving. And it's just continued from there.
I love it. I love it. And you know what? So many people, if they were in that situation where they were let go, in my opinion, you really have two choices. You have a choice of finding another corporate job, if that's the route that you wanted to go, or looking at it as, hey, I have this blank canvas. What do I really want to do with it? And where can I find that passion? So one, it's nice that you had that package that gave you that time to kind of figure out what it is that you want to do. But I love that you focused more on healing yourself first before you figured out where it is that you want to go. And that led you directly down that path.
Yeah. And you know what I think happens so often is, we're just kind of living life. And listen, I made a really good living. I was great at what I did. I had risen up the ranks in 15 years. I had a home. I was a single woman. I had a nice home and, a beautiful car and all of that. And just a handful of friends. And I thought I was happy. I really thought I was happy, but the universe had kept giving me challenges and obstacles that I kept overcoming. But I needed that kick. I needed that kick in the behind to really kind of rock my world, to take a step back and to really realize, is just existing, just going through the motions, is this really truly what I'm meant to do? And I really believe that the universe or God will always continue to present to you those challenges until you finally listen and you finally take the action and start moving down the path that you are meant to. And when you start moving down that path, it's a snowball effect. It's like, it was amazing. Like, I never thought I could make that kind of money. I made more money in my weight loss business than I ever thought. And I was loving it. I was serving and I was making an impact and I was changing people's lives. Like, my life had been changed. And then, to meet this man who was so different than I'd ever dated before, nothing, but the perfect person for me, somebody that could, handle my strong personality. And, I've now been married. We got married on New Year's Eve. I've been married for 18 years and, it really has been an amazing journey and I wouldn't change it for anything.
I love it. I love it. And looking back, I'm sure as you were going through that whole journey, or did you struggle with your mindset or confidence or anything throughout that journey?
I remember when I bought my first business. I bought my first business in Toronto and I bought an existing franchise because my job before had been sales and going in and fixing up, kind of problem areas. So I bought an existing franchise kind of close to my home. And I remember like the first month I just broke even. So, okay, yes, I had a package, but I took that package to buy this business. So I was like living on borrowed time. And the first month I broke even. And the second month, I lost money. And I was scared. I remember this time sitting on my couch, talking on the phone to my sister, bawling my eyes out. It's like, oh my God, what have I done? I've invested, this big chunk of money, into this business. But I also realized that, it's these challenges that I was all in. Even though I was scared and I was questioning it, I knew that this program was successful and I knew that I believed in the program. And, this is the one thing that I find as a coach that now works with coaches is that it really comes down to our mindset. It really comes down to the belief in ourselves. And, we're human beings. We are always going to have times in our lives where we're going to falter and we're going to question what we're doing. And we're going to question, am I really on the right path? And we're going to question our beliefs in ourselves. That's just human nature. But when you learn tools and a system to really help you recognize, hey, I'm not in the right frame of mind. What can I do? What are the steps I can take to first of all, to recognize that I'm not in the right frame of mind. And second of all, get out of that frame of mind. And, I just went through a big situation like that. Even though I consider myself to have a great mindset, I just went through a really kind of dark time through some stuff that was happening in my life. And, there are tools that we teach inside of our program that really helps people recognize that, okay, this is not what you want, but you can rise above that. And we all have the ability to create an abundant life. And, what I know for sure is that it all comes down to our mindset and it all comes down to the belief we have in ourselves. And that belief will waver here and there as it does with all human beings. But recognizing that it's the belief. What do I need to do to get back to that belief? And again, there's so many tools that you can use to get back to beginning to believe in yourself. It is how you create an abundant life. I'm looking at this vision board behind me as I speak to you. And, I'm the type of person when it comes to a vision board, I like a lot of words. And I'm reading like, she believed she could, so she did. She's living her dream. And, never give up on your dreams. And I really know that is exactly how, we never fail unless we quit.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to try a different path. Thomas Edison had 1,000 attempts at the light bulb before it happened. He never gave up on his dream. And this is what I love to help people really understand, women especially, is that you are made for greatness. You are made to make a difference in the world. And you're going to continue to find those challenges and those obstacles until you land into that spot that you are meant to be in. And then, the sky's the limit.
The sky literally is the limit. And that's what I actually love about entrepreneurship. You've said so many things right there that I want to touch on. First thing before I forget, the scary aspect of entrepreneurship or jumping into a new business or any aspect of life, I feel like the more scared you are, the bigger growth opportunity you have. Yes. And if you don't really let that fear hold you back and stop you, it's really incredible how quickly you can get over that hump. And I find a lot of people, as soon as they give up, that's kind of like they were just about to make it. So it's like entrepreneurship, it doesn't change whether you are the most successful person in the entire world. You're still going to have those fears, because as you grow and grow and grow, those fears just keep developing. But like you said, it's how do you actually recognize those fears, and then how do you actually deal with them to be able to keep pushing yourself forward. And the other thing that you mentioned, the whole imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. Is this the right path for me? Why are people going to listen to me? Why would someone come and coach with you? Like, everyone's going to have those thoughts, but yes. I love the point that you said. It's just like, it really comes down to defining what that actually is and how do you get through it. So before we move on to anything else from that aspect, could you give us a couple tips if I'm having a really bad day? Let's just say that I woke up and I'm like, oh, should I be doing this? Why is someone going to listen to my podcast? This, whatever the case might be. If I'm having that moment and I just woke up, what is the first thing I should do?
The first thing that you should do is you should recognize that you're not your thoughts. You have thoughts. This was a huge epiphany for me when I learned this lesson. I'm not my mind. I have a mind. I'm my soul, my inner being, my spirit. My mind is just part of me. And our minds are designed, they're wired to be negative. Studies show we have up to 70,000 thoughts every single day. 90% of those thoughts are repetitive, and 85% of those repetitive thoughts are negative. It's just the way our brain is designed. The only difference between people who allow those thoughts to derail them and people who don't is awareness. That is the first step. Awareness that, hey, I'm having this negative thought, and being able to look at that thought as kind of like just a cloud in the sky. Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, how does that serve me? How's that serve me? Is that thought really true? That's a really great one. Is this thought I'm really having true? And the thing is, awareness is the first thing that we need, because if we're not aware of our thoughts, we can go down the rabbit hole for 20 years of these thoughts that we continue to think, because again, science has proven that we have the same thoughts every single day. So that thought of 20 years ago is still relevant to so many people today until you start to become aware of the thought. And when you become aware of the thought, that is the first step on how you change the thought. So it would be awareness. It would be recognizing I'm not my thought, I have my thought. How does this thought serve me? And then if I was to get up and that thought was still there, I would meditate. I would quiet my mind. And, as somebody who has a very busy mind, who took a really long time to grab on to meditation, I can tell you that it is a game changer for your life. And there's so many cool apps that you can now use, and you can start with 5 minutes, but it's about learning how to quiet your mind and quiet the chatter so that, your inner being, your intuition, the things that are going to move your life forward have an opportunity to rise. That gut feeling that tells you to do this, to be open to meeting that person. So meditation is key. Giving gratitude. When you wake up and you have all those negative thoughts, saying out loud 3 things that you're grateful for. I'm grateful for the amazing bed. I'm grateful for the house over my head. I'm grateful for the person beside me. But it could be as simple as I'm grateful that I have a hot shower. And when science has proven that when we give gratitude, when we speak gratitude, whether it be out loud, it's always better out loud. It's even better written down. So that would be the next step, is that I would get up and I would be writing in my gratitude journal of all the things that I'm grateful for. And I would also be writing in my journal, how that thought that I had when I woke up, how it didn't serve me. And what's the actual truth? Because you can always spin a thought. I think that I'm not good at this, but I've proven I'm good at this because of this. So there's so many amazing tools that we have at our disposal these days. But if you are not aware of that thought, that negative thought, that is the beginning of making the shift.
I love that. I love that. And I am not a good person for meditation. It's definitely something I personally need to work on. I had a brain scan done a couple weeks ago, and it basically said that my brain is too active and I don't know how to shut it off. I have way too many things going on in my head. So that's the next thing for me to really focus on, is the mindset piece. So I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. But it's really interesting that some people believe that they can't meditate. And I have always been that person, because I can't sit still. I
thought the same thing.
I can't. Yeah. Lisa, and it's like, I know. Yeah, like I know that it takes time. I know that 5 minutes a day could do wonders for me, but it's like, it's really getting into that zone, I guess, that is a struggle for me, but definitely something that I'm working on. Now, from a mindset perspective, so yes, we all have those negative thoughts. I'm really interested in how you think the mind can really impact every day of your life, because some people will think, oh, it's just my thoughts. Like they will believe it's my thoughts, but I can't control my thoughts. But you can control your thoughts. Yes. So what's your concepts around that?
Well, again, I've learned through, all of this personal development that I've done. Like when I heard that statement, probably, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, you're not your mind, you have a mind. I was like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean I'm not my mind? What do you mean? These are not all my thoughts. And the more you dig into this and the more you recognize that, we are designed, we have the same brain as the caveman. It hasn't really developed that much. So, that brain was designed for survival. It was designed to keep us safe. It was designed. So you never wanted to go outside without the tribe, right? You never wanted to go outside of the cave because you're going to get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. It was all about survival. That's exactly what it was about. So our brain was created to keep us safe. So the thing is, there's no saber-toothed tigers anymore, but there's like the fear of going live on Facebook. It's like it's the same fear, the same feelings happen to your brain, the same feelings happen to your body. And so many people, they just allow their brain to keep them safe. But your brain is going to always go that way because you want your brain to do something different that you haven't done before. So your brain says, danger, danger, danger. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't step outside the cave. You don't know what's going to happen to you. And when you can recognize, oh, that anxiety, that, my heart racing, my palms sweating, my stomach upset. Oh, that's just my brain and my body wanting me to stay safe. But we are not going to create the life that we want by playing it safe. We have to, like, I look at it this way. If you are not doing something that gives you, I was going to say the heebie-jeebies, but if you're not doing something that makes your palm sweats or gets your heart racing or gives you that little bit of adrenaline, adrenaline is very similar, right? If you're not doing that on a regular basis, at least, I say at least every week, but at least every month, how are you growing? How are you stepping into who you're meant to be? And I know without a shadow of a doubt that we are here to become the best version of ourselves. And we're never going to become the best version of ourselves sitting our life on the sideline. We've got to say, hey, bring on the fear. Bring on that adrenaline, that excitement that sometimes I almost want to throw up because it's so scary. I remember, I'll just tell you a quick story. I remember the very first time I went live on Facebook. So most people don't recognize that when you start going live on, in your Facebook group, nobody's watching you because you haven't developed an algorithm. But I had what I refer to as my very first panic attack in my life. And I've never had that. And my armpits were sweating and I was like, geez, Adele, like you're not performing brain surgery, but this is what the fear does, the fear of your mind and how it shows up in your body. Like, I really felt sick. And I thought, okay, you know what? This fear that I'm feeling, I'm just going to push through the fear, because everything you want in life, all of the growth, the life that you deserve, it's all on the other side of fear. You have to be willing to step into it. And when you can step into that fear, and I mean, this is about accountability. And, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you need to develop self-accountability. You need to know, I mean, I believe every coach should have a coach. I believe that we all need
100%.
coaches in our lives, coaches to help move our business forward, personal coaches, business coaches, you know, but the thing is, you have to be willing to have self-accountability, because when you're an entrepreneur, you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder except you. And so often people don't realize, and they just let themselves down. They let themselves down by not living up to what they say they're going to do. And which is why you need goals, and you need to set yourself, you know, daily tasks, and, you know, the big 5 or the big 3, whatever you want to do. But you need to be checking those off, because you need to be able to hold yourself accountable, because nothing feels greater and better than when you can say, I did this. Like, I went live for the first time and I didn't die. The tiger didn't get me. I didn't die. Nobody watched me, but I didn't die. And when you can do that, you feel so good about yourself. You feel, and you begin to become invincible. And it's like, the more you do anything, you know, it's like when you're a child and you first learn to walk, like, nobody says to you when you fall and you stumble, nobody says to you, get up, you dummy. What do you mean you can't walk yet? Like, what do you mean you can't talk? What do you mean you can't tie your shoes? It's the same thing. What do you mean you can't show up live and be really comfortable? You know, what do you mean you can't learn social media or learn how to market? You've never done it before. So people need to recognize that when they're stepping into newness, it's going to always be scary. It's going to always be scary. But I know without a shadow of a doubt, we have the ability to create anything we want in our lives it begins with the right mindset.
Absolutely. And like, even for me, it's like, if I'm setting goals for myself, if I feel like they're comfortable and they're achievable, fantastic. It would be so nice to just check it off. But if it's not scaring me, it's not big enough. Exactly. And obviously I just reviewed all my goals from 2023, and it's like, some of them I hit, some of them I excelled, some of them I came close to hitting. But regardless, if I set them a little bit lower than the bar, I would have hit them all, but they wouldn't have pushed me out of my comfort a little bit more.
Exactly.
So it's like, what do they call it? The BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goals. It's like, if it doesn't scare you, make it even bigger. Yeah. If you want to speak in front of a room of 100 people, how about you change that to 1,000 people, 10,000 people? It's like, what is that thing that's really going to, like you said, make your hands sweaty, get you really uncomfortable? Because the first time that you do it, yeah, it's going to be awful. But no one else probably will tell how scared you are. Like, I feel like sometimes my voice is a little shaky, and people are like, I would have no idea. Yeah. It's like, in my brain, I'm like telling myself, oh my God, everyone can hear it. Oh my goodness. Like, I got to stop. And it's like, no, people don't know. You're the only one. And it's, again, comes back to your mind. What stories are you telling yourself? Now, just to switch gears a little bit. So you've obviously been down a few different paths. You were in your corporate, then you started the franchises, and now you coach other coaches on how to find their purpose and impact other people's lives. How did you get onto that path? Like, I know you mentioned it was your mindset and personal development work, but how did you go down that path?
So, you know, I owned my franchise for 15 years, and it was a very successful, lucrative, and I just knew it was time, right? It was time to step into something scary. And I actually went into matchmaking. I had a matchmaking business for 5 years with a partner. And it was really through the matchmaking that I realized, you know, I had been coaching on weight loss for so long. And I realized I needed some more tools. I needed some more skills in my tool chest, because I was coming up with all of these people who had a lot of limiting beliefs about themselves. You know, maybe they were into they'd been married once, some of them had been married twice, and they couldn't find a successful partner. But I began to realize, well, you need to look at yourself first. What do you need to improve on yourself. So I took a life coaching certification with the Certified Coaches Federation, and it was a game changer for me. It was a game changer for me in that it gave me these tools to help my clients, but more than anything else, it gave me these tools to help myself. And I was living a pretty amazing life. I had more money than I could, really have ever dreamed of. I had a beautiful marriage. I was living here on the lake. And then when I took this certification, I thought, well, I'm going to work with a coach because I just want to know how somebody does it, because I want to be a coach. I want to go really into coaching full time. And those 12 sessions impacted my life so much. And I had limiting beliefs still that I hadn't let go of. I had issues and beliefs and dreams still from being fired. 15 years earlier, even though I created this success and created this amazing life, I still had those thoughts and those dreams. And I realized I had a lot of baggage from my childhood that I hadn't dealt with that really was affecting my marriage. And it was the most enlightening, amazing 12 sessions I'd ever had. And it really made me realize this is what I want to do full time. And although I continued in the matchmaking, I got more and more into one-on-one coaching, and really with women, because I'm a woman and I get people's limiting beliefs. And I loved everything I learned with CCF. And, I've continued to be part of CCF, Certified Coaches Federation, since then, because I just loved all the tools. And one of the most amazing tools that I was taught and use and have used to this day since taking my certification back in 2017 is a tool called the Life Script. And that is about creating on paper and listening to it, putting it on audio and listening to it morning and night as if the life that you are wanting to create has already manifested. And this is what really made me realize even more so that we create if you're listening to this or you're watching this and you're looking at your life right now and you're not happy with what you see, I hate to tell you, but that's on you. We create the life that we are living. And most of us do it by default, and we don't even realize that we are responsible for that. But the good news is that you can change that. You can create whatever life you want. And the Life Script is a tool to kind of start working on it from a subconscious level and start planting the seeds as if you're living the life of your dreams. Because this is what's true. Your mind does not know the difference between real or imagined. Think about that for a second. Your mind does not know if what you are telling it is real or imagined, which is why we can go down the rabbit hole of, all of these worst case scenarios that never actually happen to be because we imagine them. But you can also do the exact opposite. And you can tell your mind, your subconscious mind, that you are living this amazing life in every aspect, from weight, from relationships, from your career, from where you're living. You can implant these thoughts and these beliefs in your mind, and you can listen to them day in and day out. And then your subconscious will start to make you come in contact. It's the law of attraction. It's the law of the universe. And you'll start to come in contact with people in situations that will then be able to allow you to create the life that you want. So this is a tool that I've used with all my clients. I've used with myself. I've seen amazing things manifested. So I've just continued to always love that. And, what happened for me is because I built my first business, I'm going to call it the old-fashioned way of marketing. I did radio. I was the voice. I talked about, my success story. Out of 350 locations across Canada, I ranked number 5 in a population of 53,000 because I recognized that I believed in my product, I believed in myself, and I marketed it. And I marketed it through radio, I marketed it through newspaper, and I even did a little bit of television. But when I got into my new business, my coaching, helping women create a life of abundance, I felt stuck. I felt, I'm too old. I told myself I'm too old to learn this new social media. I don't know how to do it. I felt lost. What is a lead magnet? I didn't know any of this. What do you mean I need an email list? So it really kept me stuck for a long time. It kept me stuck for longer than I wanted to. Luckily, I got a coach through the Certified Coaches Federation. Shout out to my coach, Mike Chambers. And, I began to realize that we really can, when we get out of our own way, here I was, once again, stuck in my way, stuck in my mindset that I couldn't do this. And so what we've done is I've spent a lot of time and money and energy in really figuring out the solution to help coaches, not just women, but that's, my preference, women, how to help coaches who become a coach or want to become a coach actually create a successful coaching business. Because that was me. And I believe that we are best qualified to coach the past version of ourselves. I used to coach the past version of myself when it came to weight loss. I used to coach the past version of myself when it came to relationships. And now I get to coach the past version of myself, on teaching people how to create a successful coaching business. And
I love that.
And it is mindset, but it is skill set. And it's learning the systems and the tools that you need to be able to take your coaching business from, the mindset of a coach to the mindset of an entrepreneur to learning the tools and the skills to get your message out the right way.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that you're teaching your past version of yourself. And I always like to say, as long as you know 10% more than your audience, exactly, you're in the clear. It's like, you don't have to have this huge success story necessarily. Your transformation is what people are interested in, and how you got out of that struggle, whatever it is for that individual, whether that is about photography, whether that's about coaching, whether that's about weight loss, like whatever the case might be. It's like, if you got out of something that you struggled with and you found a way out, and now you can duplicate that for other people and help people get out of it faster, that's the key to it. And people get so caught up in marketing and learning all of these things that they forget that one simple tip. So I love that you mentioned that.
Yeah. And I will just say this, that I know that we are all best qualified to coach the past version of ourselves. And I think that why we need to choose that path. And again, as we get older, we got lots of past versions of ourselves. So there's lots that we can coach on. But when you coach on something, like my success in the weight loss was because I was that person. And so I had a passion, I had a drive. And I really believe that when you have a passion for the client that is in front of you, when you've overcome what they are faced right now, then that passion, that belief, that comes through from a vibration standpoint. We're back to vibration. We're back to the law of attraction, because we all put out a vibration. And when we put out a vibration of full belief in what we are offering, full belief that we've overcome this, we've become a great photographer, whatever it happens to be. When we fully embrace that belief about ourselves, that passion, that energy, that vibration, we put that out when we're having our discovery calls. We put that out when that's why I signed up so many people in my weight loss, is because I believed it in my very being. And this is what it's about. So you're right. You don't need to have all the answers. There's still lots I don't know about social media and marketing, but there's lots I do know. And I do know that these are the steps that you need to take to be able to create the business of your dreams. And so often you become a coach and you have a coach mindset, but you don't understand that most people who become coaches don't know anything about being an entrepreneur. And so how do I become a coach entrepreneur? How do I put on the right cap, the right hat as an entrepreneur to understand when am I a coach and when am I an entrepreneur? And this is a lot of things that people, and this is a big epiphany that we teach inside the Coach's Entrepreneurial Roadmap, is that really understanding, when you wear your coach's hat and when you need to wear your entrepreneur hat.
Yeah. And I mean, there's always multiple hats that you can wear within your business, and they're all necessary, especially when you're first getting started. But eventually, obviously, you can start outsourcing all those pieces too if you don't want to wear specific hats.
Yes.
But going back to the whole belief in your offer, in yourself and everything, I find some people lack the confidence to really believe in it, or they may believe in their offer, but lack the confidence to shout that belief to the world. So do you have any tips or suggestions on that side of things?
This is a conversation I had with one of my clients just last week, because this is the struggle. I believe in her more than she believes in herself right now. And, and that's why it's so important to have a coach. It's so important to have someone that believes in you until you believe in yourself. And we have doubts about our beliefs. And I mean, listen, we all have a backstory. We all have an upbringing. We all have this baggage that we come to the world with, currently. And, we need to take action. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to misunderstand what I'm about to say. You still need to take action. You still need to take inspired action. But I said to this client, your work, because she was going on holidays for 2 weeks. And I said, your work in these next two weeks is to find time to be by yourself and get quiet and do the inner work, because it's the inner work that creates the success. And that means, the journaling, the meditating, the belief work, writing out 25 things about yourself that are amazing, being able to do the mirror exercise. I mean, there's a ton of different things we teach because everybody needs something different. But to know how hard it is for people to look in their eyes and look in a mirror and say that they love themselves. It's very hard for most people. Women, we just look and maybe put some makeup on. We don't look into our soul. And nobody can coach like you. Everybody has their own story. Everybody is uniquely themselves, and nobody can do what you can do. So to me, the biggest work, and when I falter, when I have some doubt creeping in, I know it's because I haven't practiced enough self-care. I haven't stepped back enough. I haven't spent enough time in nature. I haven't meditated enough. I've fallen behind in something. I'm not listening to my life script. I'm not writing in my journal every day about everything I'm grateful for. Something about my self-care is not happening, because when I'm fully in my self-care, and this is what I really want people to leave with today, that the busy work will just keep you busy. The work to create the life that you want, it doesn't matter if it's a coaching business, a relationship, weight loss, $1 million, it doesn't matter what it is. It starts from within. It starts from doing the inner work. And there's so many things that you can be doing. But the first thing you need to do is you need to get quiet. And I cannot stress enough the importance of meditation and recognizing that you've got to learn how to believe in yourself. And to me, that's one reason everybody should have a coach, because everyone's going to need someone to believe in them before they believe in themselves. But it's about recognizing, as I said earlier, awareness is the first step. I'm having these thoughts that don't serve me. I'm having a lack of beliefs. What do I need to do? What do I need to do to start believing in myself? And maybe I remember doing this exercise with my coach once. I had to go and ask 3 people in my life what they thought about me. And I had a series of questions I had to ask them, because we see ourselves so differently than other people see us. And people see our greatness that we don't see. And sometimes we need somebody to be able to say, well, you're this and you're that. And it's like, wow, I never thought of that about myself. So there's so much that we can do, but we have to do the inner work. And again, I mentioned earlier, I've been going through something recently, and I took a step back because I allowed the busy work to take over. And then I wondered why I was stumbling, and I wondered why I wasn't creating the things that I wanted to create in my life. And when I took a step back and I just focused on the inner work, it was amazing how it raised my vibration, because this is the thing. Believing in yourself is about learning how to raise your vibration. Learning how to raise your vibration, and that will create everything that you want in your life. And I'm not saying it's always easy, because stuff happens in our lives, but it really is. Again, I'm going to beat a dead horse. It starts with awareness. How am I feeling? If I'm feeling like crap, what am I thinking? How do I change my thoughts? Oh, I'm not my thoughts. I have a thought. Journaling is amazing, to start journaling, and to start writing down all the things that make you great, and really finding those things. And if you can't find them, ask your friends and family, what makes me great?
Yeah, amazing. I love that. And actually, so one thing I did within the mastermind that I'm a part of, which was one of the most emotional things I've done. So I'm a very closed off person. I don't share my emotions with many people. I don't cry in front of many people. And not to say that's a positive thing or what, but in this mastermind, what he had us do, I forget what he called it, but he basically made me turn off my camera and mute myself, and I was just listening to what everyone else was saying about me. So he went around this circle on Zoom. So he went around the Zoom room and he was asking all these people, what is one thing that you like about Lisa, one thing that you've learned from Lisa, and then one thing, I forget how he worded the last one, but one thing essentially that she doesn't know about herself. And the things that they said about me, one, I bawled my eyes out, like hyperventilating, bawling. Like it touched me so much, but I had no idea that this is what people saw of me. And it was one of the most exhilarating feelings that I've ever had. So I like the fact that you said ask other people, but even asking people that you've just met. Like I've only known these people at this point for maybe 6 months, and we meet on Zoom twice a month. So it's not like I know them really, really well, but they saw something within me that I never knew. And I recorded that. And when I'm having those days where I'm feeling a little down, I listen to it and it brings me back up. Awesome. So just having that, I thought was a really, really cool thing. But you're so right in terms of, we have our thoughts about ourselves. We have this vision of what we're all about, but how we come across to other people, what other people think about us could be totally different. And that may be the one thing that you need, that kick in the butt to actually push yourself forward, just to hear from other people. So I love that tip that you gave.
Yeah, that's great. That's an amazing, that would have, I can imagine how that would have been. Cause I know just asking 3 friends and family, like how it was like, wow, I never saw myself that way. And that's the thing, we have blinders on and we see ourselves from our limiting beliefs, right? We see ourselves from all the crap that we brought with us from our childhood. And listen, I'm not finding fault on our parents. They did the best that they can. But this is it, right? So it's like, how do I clear away all those cobwebs, right? And how do I create the life that I want? And you are 100% responsible for the life that you have. And when you can own that, no matter how challenging that may be, or when you're looking around and you're not loving what you see, to take responsibility, that is the beginning of the change. And it's all about the inner work. It's all about the inner work. And the more I focus on the inner work and the more I help my clients focus on the inner works, it's amazing, what you can create. And this is why I love the Life Script, because, I'll just tell you a quick story. I've been using the Life Script. It was just before pandemic, I guess, maybe 2018. And I owned a condo in Costa Rica, but I wanted to buy a house. I wanted to start spending more time there. I wanted to buy a house, and I had this great idea. And I came home and I talked to my husband about it. And he's like, I don't want to do that. I just wanted to keep the condo. So, and it's like, I took a step back and I said to myself, okay, I have the ability to create anything I want. It doesn't matter what anyone else wants. It's what I want. So I wrote myself a Life Script. And in that Life Script, I talked about what the house looked like, the smells, everything. And I listened to that script every single day, as well as anytime I drove anywhere, I visualized it. And then I just kept doing it. A month later, I hear my husband talking on the phone saying, yeah, so it looks like we're going to maybe sell the condo and buy a house. And I needed to sell the condo, and I needed to sell actually 2 properties. And I'm at work because I was still in my weight loss business. And I have someone that walks in the door, a client of mine, and she said, Adele, I know you have a condo in Costa Rica. We're thinking about buying one. And it's like, well, I have a condo to sell. And then I had a condo in Arizona that I had to sell because I needed the money to be able to afford to buy a house. And I listed that with an agent and I sold it within a week. And then it's like, I look back on, and so now we have this beautiful home in Costa Rica, and I know, but without a shadow of a doubt, it was my Life Script. It was my belief that it was going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen. I had a husband that didn't want it to happen. And this is the lesson I want people to take from this. For that day when my husband said no, I was like pissed off, and it's like, damn men. And I thought, wait a second. My life and what I want to create has nothing to do with anybody else but me. It has to do with my belief in myself and my ability. So I just started to put it out there, and I did everything that I had at my disposal to start to create this. And I didn't know how or why or when it would happen, but it manifested within a year because I believed in it. And I just want people to recognize the power of belief in ourselves. And we don't always know how or when it's going to manifest or how it's going to manifest, but we have to just keep believing in the fact that the universe gives you whatever you think. So I say to people who have a belief that they're never going to be successful in their coaching business, well, you're creating that because you're putting a belief out that it's never going to happen. And this is the hardest part is always letting go of the doubt, letting go of the insecurities. And this is where meditation, Lisa Ann, really comes into play, and journaling comes into play, because we really can create anything regardless of what or who could be standing in our way. We have the ability, once we begin to believe and we do the work and we do the inner work to create that. And that is as true for a button as it is for a castle, as Abraham Hicks likes to talk about.
I love it. And now when they all follow you on social media and you're in Costa Rica posting your videos by the pool that I love to watch, they can all see that dream has now come into reality. So I love it. Thank you, honestly, so much for sharing all that information. I personally love how in tune you are with yourself, but how you let that drive you to be able to make a bigger impact. I see it every single day since we talk relatively often. So one, I just want to say thank you for sharing all of that on us, but also I wanted to save some time for you to share a little bit about your program, because should we tell them about the program and kind of how it's connected with me as well?
Yeah, for sure.
Right,
So
I'll let you take it away.
Just before you do that, I want to just say one thing. I want to say for anybody listening or watching this, and you might see me as someone who's really confident and outgoing and self-assured, I just want you to know that that's not always who I am. I was nervous coming on to this podcast. I was tongue-tied in the beginning. I stumble all the time. I'm just a human being like everybody else. I consider myself to be inverted. I'm really a shy, introverted type of person. So I just want you to know that you are going to do you. I'm going to do me. And if you're more quiet and reserved, it's okay. You can still create the life that you want. I just want people to know that you don't have to be loud. People used to tell me, my husband tells me all the time, you're talking too loud. So you have to just do you, because nobody else is you but you. Nobody else has your story. Nobody else has been through what you've been through. Nobody else.
I was just looking over at my bookshelf. My sister bought me this book about being shy. I can't remember the name of it, but essentially people look at being shy as a negative or something that you should work on. But in all honesty, it's not. I'm a very shy person. Yes. I'm very introverted. Yes. No one would know, but I am. I'm very shy, but I've learned how to use that in a way that can push me forward with my dreams and goals. So I love that you mentioned that, but I got to send you that book, and I'll write in the show notes when I get the name of it, because it's a really, really interesting book for people who feel shy and timid or quiet even. It's powerful.
Yeah. And they think that I can't do what you're doing because I'm not outgoing like that. And it's like, you can, but you're going to do you. And there's, there's 8 billion people on the planet, and there's nobody like you. You are unique exactly how you are. So you're going to do you, and people are going to resonate. Some people think I'm too loud, and they're not going to ever want to work with me because I'm too in your face. That's what some people are going to think. So listen, we created the Coach's Entrepreneur Roadmap, and this is years in the making. We launched it probably like 9 months ago, and this is created for people who want to be coaches or people who are coaches. So it's people who want to create a coaching business or already have a coaching business and are stuck. Don't understand what the difference is between being a coach and being an entrepreneur. I've worked with so many women who can't figure out their niche, who can't figure out the name of their business, who don't believe in themselves, who are coached but don't believe in themselves. So we've created this amazing training called the Coach's Entrepreneur Roadmap that has everything. We spend a lot of time on mindset. We spend a lot of time on sales, because so many people think that I can't sell. we're not going to teach you how to sell. We're going to teach you how to enroll people into what they need, right? And there's so many different ways to do that. And, again, I'm going to talk a lot about energy and a lot about vibration, because when you put out the right energy and the right vibration, people are going to be attracted to you. So, this is the gist of what the Coach and Entrepreneur Roadmap. And this is why Lisa and I have teamed up together, because what I recognized, what was lacking for me when I first got into this, was a fear of the new social media, digital marketing. I had this fear of how to do it. And that's when I found Lisa Ann, and I found her amazing Spotlight Theory. Because, again, Lisa has a way of teaching this, that she takes you by the hand and she teaches it in such a way that it's like, oh, now I get what a lead magnet is. Now I get why I need an email list. And she teaches you to create it in such a way that it's not salesy. So, you want to just talk a little bit about that, Lisa Ann?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So essentially what we've done is we have brought my Spotlight Theory program into their program to be able to support coaches on a deeper level. So you get the mindset and the coaching and everything from Adele and CCF, but then it comes to a point where it's like, okay, how do I actually market myself online? That is where we bring the Spotlight Theory in. So you pretty much get this all-in-one program that is really going to help you take your coaching business to the next level. And it's something that I'm super grateful that we have found each other. I'm super grateful to be able to support all of your coaches as well. But it's something that I feel like a lot of people are missing out, whether you're a coach or not, even a coach, learning how to get past those mindsets, how to get past that fear, everything that we're talking about today. Adele said it before, every single person needs a coach. And I truly believe that. I've had a coach, whether that's fitness coaching, whether that's business coaching, whatever it is, if you need that person, if you need that extra support, having a community is going to be huge for you, but just having that extra support, that is one really, really big aspect of it. But very, very grateful that we have been able to put both of these programs into one for you. If you do have any questions, I will link to their program right in the show notes for you. But Adele, where is the best place for people to connect with you if they do have questions about your program?
Well, they can I guess they can go through the website, certifiedcoachesfederation.com, or they can just send us an email at support@certifiedcoachesfederation.com. But they can find the Coaches Entrepreneur Roadmap inside our website, so they can find some information. They can book they can fill out an application, which will book a breakthrough call. Like, this is my goal. My goal is to have these breakthrough calls with people. And, again, I want to work with people who I resonate with. I want to work with people who need what we have to offer, who have been stuck for so long, who have a passion to serve, who might have mindset issues, who might have some struggles. I love to coach the past version of myself, right? So the goal on these breakthrough calls is to really get to the heart of where you are at in your business. Whether you've started a business or whether you want to start a business or you're in the middle of a business, this is the purpose of these, free breakthrough calls, is to really help you determine where you're at and whether or not what we have to offer is going to be a good fit. And if it's not going to be a good fit, we're going to tell you, and we're going to give you some suggestions on other avenues you can go through. But if it's a good fit, we're going to give you more information on, what we offer inside the Coaches Entrepreneur Roadmap. So
amazing. I love it. And then we also will put all your social media handles inside of the show notes so people can check you out on social media. She has awesome branding, by the way. I love all of your content. So awesome job to you for showing up on social media, even though I know the first time that you went live, you said was super scary for you and out of your comfort. So kudos to you. And guys, every single thing that we've talked about here today, it is based on personal experience for Adele. And I really want you to listen to the stories, but also one thing that I took away, Adele, and one thing I really appreciate you for is your ability to keep going regardless of any struggle or anything that steps in your way or any mental block. You have such a drive and such a passion, and I'm going to say confidence. I know everyone struggles with confidence in some way, shape, or form, but you show up and you get shit done. Sorry for my language, but you just do. So thank you again so much for being on here. I greatly, greatly appreciate you. And guys, if you ever have any questions, need any support, if you're a coach, if you want to get into coaching, I highly, highly recommend CCF.
Awesome. Well, Lisa, it's been amazing. And I mean, I've enjoyed this last hour with you. And I love what you bring, because when we found you, it's like, hallelujah, there's the answer. There's the answer to the whole, how do I get myself out there? How do I market myself the right way? So I was so excited when, we created this marriage. Like, this is a marriage of two amazing programs kind of coming together that are going to give coaches everything they need to excel as a coach entrepreneur. So thanks for your time. And listen, everybody, you have the ability to create the life that you want. I want you to recognize that. And I've been down and out more times than I can tell you. I didn't have time to share all of my stories with you, but I know without a shadow of a doubt that you will succeed as long as you don't quit. So that's the last thing I want to say to you. Just don't quit.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for everyone for hanging out with us today. We will see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye.